Welcome to GearCheckGames. This is part 20 of our commentary for The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. We got another relatively short part today. Last time we went down to Old Hyrule, mysterious land under the ocean. And we got the Master Sword, which we need in order to kill Ganon and rescue our sister. So in this part, we're going to be, after we feed the fish, we're going to be heading towards the Forsaken Fortress and storming it with our newfound weapon.
Sister, what's she ever done for you?
You know, I gotta be honest, when I was playing this and I got to the Forsaken Fortress, I was like, oh yeah, sister.
Oh yeah, sister.
Because I've been recording this game over the course of like several months by this point.
See, this is why you don't play and commentate, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Bad combination, huh?
It'll drive a man crazy.
Not like this. You see, like this, we have all the time in the world to think of interesting things to say. We just don't always utilize it as such.
Why is Beetle at the Tower of the Gods? You're literally...
Maybe the gods need to buy things every now and then. You ever think of that?
Maybe this is Beetle's home.
Beetle is a god.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm out of bait, and I need to go find more.
Wait, did he not sell any?
No. Some of them only sell like weapons and health restorative items. Joe, look! Don't look. You're looking at the gamepad. You're looking at. Okay. Whew. See, that's why the Wii U deserved to die, is because it was far too easy to become distracted. I miss you already, Wii U.
It promoted getting distracted while driving.
Yeah, it promoted distracted gaming. You see, we were so busy looking at the gamepad that we sailed right into this deadly tornado.
Yep, here it comes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember that green frog god from Dragon Roost?
Yeah, Naruto.
Well, this is his surly brother that he mentioned back then. And if we don't shoot him with arrows fast enough, he is going to suck us into the tornado and warp us to, well, I don't know where, but far away from where we need to be.
I love that this track is playing during this fight.
Uh-huh. Oh, the big octo music?
Mm-hmm. Small now.
Yeah. He's just an octopus in a mask. So anyway, this guy is going to give us a very useful Wind Waker melody. If you remember in Ocarina of Time, you had various songs you could learn that would allow you to warp to specific points in the overworld. Majora's Mask refined this by having one song that you can use to choose a warp point at various locations throughout the world. To prevent you having to memorize a bunch of different songs just for the sake of convenience. And Wind Waker basically just lifts that system and uses it for itself. But yeah, the Ballad of the Gales is going to allow us to use tornadoes to travel around the Great Sea. Which, I mean, you know, I love the sailing and all, but like, after a certain point, like, you know, life's too short. Like, you gotta get a move on.
I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, having one song for all the different warp points is more convenient and allows for more warp points, which is even more convenient. But I still like having just like a song for each warp point.
Well, yeah, those songs are great, and admittedly, this is never personally a problem for me, because like, I don't know, I really enjoyed those songs, and I guess I never had trouble like remembering them. But I can see why, you know, they went the route that they did, because it is like a lot of extra work to memorize all of those songs, especially considering that like they're like the longest pieces of music in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no bait here either. So we're gonna go all the way back to Outset Island and get some more.
Hey, this reminds me of that time that I had to do my laundry and I didn't have any quarters and the change machine was broken.
You mean today?
I went to go do my laundry and there wasn't any bait.
Can we just do a cutaway to found footage of me struggling at the laundromat?
See, he had to fight off, like, 5...
Just our TCG funny moments.
Yeah. There it is.
Yep. The sacred treasure. This is the real Triforce.
It's the most important item in Hyrule.
Three servings to rule them all.
Wait, is this considered Hyrule, or is this just the High Seas?
I believe it's, like, officially referred to as the Great Sea, but, well, I already kind of spoiled it before, but yes, this takes place over the ruins of Hyrule, which, up until this game, was pretty much the de facto setting for, Zelda games.
Is it a ruin if it's just frozen in time in a little bubble under the sea? Because, like, Hyrule doesn't look damaged, like, at all.
Well, it's okay, it's like, sealed away, sorry.
Yeah.
Failed to... And also, I also worded that kind of incorrectly. There were other Zelda games that took place in other locations besides Hyrule before Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Arguably more so in the case of like Majora and Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
In the Oracle games.
What's that island
But
called?
I really like Wind Waker's take on the concept of like a... I mean, I hate to like throw this phrase around, but like a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
Because, and this is something that the Zelda series has repeatedly done a good job with, is, you know, post-apocalyptic worlds are like a dime a dozen in video games. But I always feel like Zelda has kind of a novel take on them, where it's, you know, it's not like immediately apparent that this is like a ruined world. Because it just kind of, you know, apart from this ruined island here, everything just looks kind of normal. But then you find out halfway through this game, they're like, oh, there's like an entire kingdom that's like sealed away under the ocean.
And nobody lives there.
Uh-huh, yeah, can't imagine why. Or like, to, you know, bring it up for the billionth time, Breath of the Wild. Which, you know, features a lot more ruins, but the tone they went for in that game was more of like a calming atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of to help you like appreciate like the beauty of the natural world that you're exploring, as opposed to like, look how dour and destroyed everything is. Here it almost feels like a new setting, because, you know, like, yeah, we're like sailing over the old kingdom, but like all of this is, you know, all of these islands are new. A lot of the races introduced in this game are brand new or like evolved from previous games.
Yeah.
The Wind Waker takes place in Hyrule Skybox.
I mean, for all we know. Are there any... Dan, you know about the Ocarina of Time exploits. Are there any runs that clip you outside the skybox to complete the game?
Skybox, I don't think so, but like around and under the map, yes.
Oh, okay.
Like I know there's one that makes it easier to do the
Cyclone was like, nope.
The quest to deliver the not eye drops, the frog eyes or whatever. Because you get them from King Zora, and the guy you're supposed to deliver them to is in Lake Hylia, but you can't. The shortcut to get to Lake Hylia from Zora's domain is frozen over.
Yeah.
But you can clip through the wall at the ladder to get outside the map and dive down to the load zone of the shortcut.
There's that one-hit kill jump attack I was telling you about last time.
That was beautiful. So, you mentioned this game being in the skybox of Ocarina, and that reminded me of like a theory. Like, let me put my archaeologist hat on for a minute. Like, I know I put my scientist hat on before in many parts.
Is it made of tinfoil, Trey?
No, it's made
because that's A-okay.
It's made of pottery and old bones.
It's made of clay.
Yeah, pretty much. I figure, like, since you find the Leviathan bones in lots of parts of Breath of the Wild, I feel like that game happens, like, millions of years after this game. So I feel like they're definitely connected in some way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think the prevailing theory is that Breath of the Wild just takes place millions of years after, like, any of the so the theory that I've heard that I find the most interesting is that the reason that Breath of the Wild has stuff from, like, every timeline in it is because it takes place so much longer after the events of the other games that it's just kind of like the events of, like, any of the timelines could have happened by that point, because it's like...
Yeah. It's like the point at which all timelines converge.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes my brain hurt to think about.
Are we gonna need a new timeline?
Yeah, for those not familiar with the Zelda series, the current prevailing, the official Nintendo timeline that has been released, it stems from Ocarina of Time. I believe there's like 1 or 2 games before it. But when we get to Ocarina of Time in the timeline, because of the nature of that game's story, there are 3 possible branches that can come from that game. There's the child timeline, the adult timeline, and my favorite of all, the hero is defeated timeline, which stems from Link being killed by Ganon during the final battle. And only during the final battle, not like at any point in his quest, like... Yeah. Which, that totally makes sense. But yeah, and all 3 of those timelines branch out into, like, their own, like, subsequent Zelda games. I believe Wind Waker falls on the adult timeline, because at the end of Ocarina of Time, as we were saying earlier, Link is sent back in time by Zelda to relive his childhood, and as a result, as we saw in the opening of this game, he is no longer in that Hyrule to protect it when Ganon, like, breaks free of his seal and terrorizes the land once again. So...
What was the first game in the Heroes Defeated timeline again?
I think that's, like, where Zelda 1 and 2 are.
Yeah, I think it was Zelda 1.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
The brutal timeline.
That's weird.
This is, like, the ultimate Beetle. He has, like, a bunch of good items.
Yeah, this is totally not Beetle. Yeah, he sells you various treasures. I decided to, obviously get the most valuable one, the empty bottle. But I'll probably be coming back here and picking up his other stuff.
Oh yeah.
He claims that his store closes in it's going to close in 7 days. But I'm pretty sure he just reopens it with, like, the same exact items. So, and I think he's referring to 7 in-game days. So you don't need to worry about, like, real life.
He'll never come back, ever, after 7 days.
It's impossible to 100% this save file.
After 7 days in real time, Beetle dies of old age.
He files for bankruptcy.
Oh my lord.
So when do you guys think Nintendo first started, like, on the idea of a branching timeline for Zelda? Or even thinking about a timeline? Well, I mean... Yeah, when do you think they started with the idea of a branching timeline?
Probably around the time that Skyward Sword was being made, because, like, Skyward Sword is obviously, like, a prequel.
Well, yeah, because... You go ahead.
Along with Minish Cap, which Nintendo happily forgets. What happened to the Minish? What happened to Eslo? What happened?
Well, and Skyward Sword also, like, that was around the time when Hyrule Historia, the Zelda encyclopedia, was released. And, they had to have some kind of timeline in that to connect all the games. I honestly don't buy the fact that, or the notion that Nintendo has, like, always planned it this way. I mean, not to, like, discredit them, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. He's got to go. His treasure chest needs him. But not to discredit Nintendo. Like, obviously, I love their games, and I love the stories in the Zelda games. But I also think, I think they were approaching this on, like, a game-by-game basis, where it was just like, okay, what is kind of, like, and in this like, what is the best way to, like, tell this story without really thinking of where it falls in the context of, like, the greater tapestry of the series. You know, and there are cases like this where, you know, obviously this game references or it exists in reference to the events of Ocarina of Time, where it's like in the future of that game, or Majora, where it's literally the same incarnation of Link, like going on a separate adventure in like a different world.
Yeah.
But I never got the feeling from these games that like, oh, there's like a grand like timeline. It's just different legends with like similar elements.
I feel like the timeline it's like the pirate's code. It's more like guidelines.
Yeah, I suppose you could look at it that way.
Well, see, I was thinking that I feel like they might have actually started thinking about it as like a branching timeline or whatever, or as like a cohesive timeline with the Wind Waker. Probably not 3 branches quite yet, but like, because like you said, up to this point, it's all been kind of like make a game and then a sequel, make a game in like a new setting and then a sequel to that game, make another game in a new setting and then a sequel to that, and then they make this game, which is a new setting, but it has clear references back to Ocarina of Time and the time travel mechanics of that, with, you know, the fact that Link got sent back in time means that he was no longer in the future, which means that they're confirming...
Nobody stopped Ganon.
Yeah, which means that they're confirming that the adult timeline didn't just go away when Nick went back to being a child.
When Nick went back to being a child?
Link. Did I say Nick?
Don't you drag Nick into this?
Nico is the real hero of this.
The chosen one, yes. In Spirit Tracks he is.
I need to play the game.
He was the only one who survived.
But yeah, I think this game is the first instance of like them acknowledging that Ocarina is split off into at least 2 timelines.
Well, I think it's an example of them acknowledging like connections between specific games.
Yeah, that's
they weren't thinking about like the Oracle games as they relate to Wind Waker or Ocarina, or like Link to the Past.
Yeah. Well,
specifically between like this game and its near immediate predecessors.
Yeah. So I think probably what ended up happening was like all the other games were just kind of like they're their own thing. And then, like they're all in Hyrule, but each of them has kind of their own stories or whatever, and they don't really reference each other if like that much, if at all. And then Ocarina is like a smash success, and Majora's Mask comes out as a sequel, and it's not quite a smash success. So like so then Nintendo thinks maybe we really did something right with Ocarina. And like maybe we can maybe that's like something interesting that we could kind of make like a focal point for the series. So then they made Wind Waker, which kind of references back to Ocarina as kind of like the focal point for the chronology of the series or whatever, and start trying to like make something that ties everything together, I guess.
Yeah, there's more I'd like to say about Ocarina's place in the series and like the reception of Majora and Wind Waker and like the direction the series took afterwards.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about that in a future part, because we have finally arrived here in Forsaken Fortress. And next time it's finally time to take the fight to Ganon and rescue our sister. So hope you'll join us for that.
Bye, y'all.
Wait, we were rescuing our sister?